Hey, welcome to week 4. And the topic of week 4 is hidden expenses for a buyer. So many of us know when you go to purchase a home, you will be responsible for a down payment and closing costs. Depending on the type of loan that you use, that works best for you, you may have 0% in down payment, but most likely you'll have 3.5%, 5%, or possibly more. And when I say 3.5%, I mean of the purchase price of the home. So several $1,000s. But that's normal. You can't avoid it. And then closing costs, the same thing, might be around 3% of the purchase price of the home. Your lender would be the one that would give you a more specific number, but that's just kind of a rough estimate. So most of us know that those exist, but a lot of buyers don't realize that there's more involved. There's some hidden costs involved that you should be prepared for, because going back to week 3, we want to protect our credit. We don't want to put all these things on credit card. We want to have the money to be able to pay for these things that I'm going to tell you about, cash. Okay, so first thing, when you go to put an offer in on a property, if it's accepted, then the buyer has to put in an earnest money deposit or an escrow deposit, it may be called. Either way, it's the same thing. And that is a amount of money, which will be determined by your agent and you, to show the seller that you're serious about this offer, that you're willing to put something, in with the offer. You're serious. You're not just wasting their time. Now, that money is not above and beyond the down payment and closing costs. So that's the good thing. But you want to have it so you can wire that money over. So you want to have it in cash so you can wire it over to the title company. And that some people don't realize that you need to have that. And maybe it's a few $1,000s, but that amount of money will go towards the closing costs or the down payment. So again, it's not above and beyond, but I want to make sure you understand you do need to have that. Other things that people don't realize is when you are under contract, we have an inspection period. That's your time to do your due diligence to make sure you want to purchase this home, that this home is in good working order, or we need to negotiate with the seller to get some repairs or whatever it is. Well, to do that, you've got to get inspections done. So your first one is your general inspection. That's for you. The inspector goes through the entire house, gives you all the things that are needing to be repaired or things that aren't correct or whatever. They're going to find issues with every single home. So it's very normal, but we would just want to know if this house is something that you're willing to, get the repairs done, and that's something that's not going to be overwhelming once you purchase. Or you negotiate with the seller. So you need the general inspection done. Depending on your loan, you may be required to get something called a WDO, which is also known like a termite inspection, wood destroying organism. You may want to get that just for your own peace of mind too, but a WDO may be required. If you have a septic tank, then they may need a septic inspection. You may need water inspection, water test if it's a well. Those are some extra tests that may come up. And then for insurance purposes, you have to get a 4-point done. That's going over the 4 major items: your plumbing, your HVAC, your roof, and your electrical. And then your wind mitigation, which is like determining your roof and its ability to withstand wind. So those are all expenses that you pay for because it's the buyer that's looking to buy the home. Several $100s it might be. It could be over 1,000. It just depends on how many of those inspections you need to get done. So you need to know that going into purchasing your home. Another cost that you will have is an appraisal. The lender does not want to give you money unless they've had the home appraised and agree with you that it is worth the purchase price that you've agreed to pay. And then another expense is a survey. So survey has to be done by the lender requires a survey to be done, and that usually is covered with your closing costs. Same with the appraisal, but not always. So again, I don't want you I don't want a buyer to get surprised when they're asked to pay for the appraisal and they didn't even know that that was something they paid for. So those are all the things, a hidden cost in purchasing a home. And again, since I want you to protect your credit, the best way to do that is to be prepared. And a prepared buyer is going to have a much smoother transaction than one who not even knowing what's coming. So I'll see you next week in week 5.